Step into the dream bucket.
Dream bucket.
Send us your dream. Step into the dream bucket.
Dream bucket.
In Casey, Nick, and Dad are on the scene. Into the dream bucket. Send us your dream. Step into the dream bucket.
Dream bucket.
In Casey, Nick, and Dad are on the scene.
Yo.
Here we are. We're back again.
What's up?
We're back again.
I gotta say something.
Yes, she does.
I gotta say something.
By popular demand.
I gotta say something. This is directly toward somebody that I'm not gonna mention. But it's a person that it's a fan. It's a fan. I'm gonna say a fan. A fan that heard something and felt like they needed to go back and say something about what they heard to somebody that I know. And I just want to quote Megan Thee Stallion. I just want to kick this shit off by saying, fuck y'all. I ain't got to clear my name on a motherfucking thing. Every time I get mentioned, one of you bitch ass motherfuckers get 24 hours of motherfucking attention. You know who I'm talking about. You raggedy bitch. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Grandma, you can turn it on back on now. You can come off the mute button.
That's all I have to say. That is not directed to anyone that I personally know. That is directed to the motherfucking brand new random ass fan that felt like they needed to go do a CNN report to somebody about some shit I said.
Reporting live
on my fucking podcast.
Casey said some shit on an episode that is no longer on the internet. Probably on the dark web.
On the dark web.
Which you cannot Google to find it.
You cannot get it.
Because we have deleted an episode.
Yes.
But our first deletion.
And last.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know. I'm surprised it took this long. Really,
I
thought we were gonna be canceled long ago.
I slept on it. I've slept on it. I've tossed about it. I've cried. I prayed. I really, like at first I was like devastated. I called John. He was at a damn. What were you at a soccer game?
I was at a birthday party.
He was
and I just been given responsibility for the children. And I got a phone call.
Man, I'm like, dude, I need you to pull this. I re-listened to the episode before it got pulled, and I was just like, dang, that's crazy. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, I just felt like I just needed to change who I was as a person. I'm like, I just talked to a lot of people like, dang, like, I was so sad that like something.
Should we tell the story? Like,
yeah, okay, I want to talk. So, let's give some context.
Weddings, T-ball, and Titanic.
Yes. So a little bit of context. So basically, let's just clear this part up. I just come in and talk about my week. Okay. I don't know if people think this is curated or structured, or motherfuckers think that I just be plotting on their life or some shit like that. It's really never that deep.
We have one plan, that the timer will go off on my phone in 45 minutes.
Yes.
And that sometime after that, we will end up opening the dream bucket. Oh, and then there's a song at the beginning.
Yes.
That's the structure.
That's literally the structure. It is never any plan for me to like hurt somebody or really just like come at somebody or anything like that. That's never like a malicious plan. I'm just organically talking about my life. Now I've heard feedback of like, damn, well, maybe you talking about your life, it involves other people, and they might not be comfortable with
being on the show.
With being on the show. So I've heard that, and I was like, damn, that's real. You know what I mean? I have to own that risk of saying shit. That is a risky thing, because I'll just say, oh, my family, or oh, my friends, and I call everybody nicknames. So like, unless you personally know
unless
me,
they were Winona State University.
yeah. But unless they're a staff member at St. Mary's specific university,
and that guy Roosevelt High School too. He's also named.
Yes, fucking Joel.
Stairs. Yeah.
Yes, but unless you were the Anime Club presidents between 2004 and 2005, we
have a strict code name policy outside of those exceptions.
Yes. But, I give everybody nicknames anyways, but like that's just in my personal life. So you would have to personally know me to know that to even know who I'm referencing. Right. So it's like the larger
And there was a wedding that you were coordinating for, and there was a
not
bridal party.
I was in it.
You were in it, but you were the like lead, admin for the wedding party.
I don't even want to rehash it, but
in that story,
it was something, right?
And you told the tale, and
I talked about my own experiences, and that really it went fucking.
It was taken
left.
personally by a bride.
It was This is where we're going. This is how we got this episode pulled, but.
But just to be clear to the audience, you did not say anything specifically offensive or like a certain term or anything like that.
Right.
It is solely for these privacy things that we're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
So I've had to do some reflecting on my own self and, other episodes, right? You said on one of the episodes that you did with the community bucket, somebody said they were surprised with something that came up in an episode. Wendy, boo.
She was surprised with something that came up on the episode that you were talking about.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, I said on the Community Bucket podcast?
I don't know. Is that what she said it?
I think I just told you on the side. Because I think there's... I think there's a... We're super structured.
We haven't restarted the fucking episode.
Our apologies cause more problems. No. Calling more people out the more we get into it. No.
Shit.
So no, but
Okay.
I think we do an interesting dance of being like really like how do you discuss like your real authentic life? Like
Yes.
I did a vegetable salad one time, and now my brother knows he's cucumber. Hi cucumber. And so
see how John just put everybody on blast. I just said, listen.
he texted me. It was
I am
like,
black,
hey,
and we have so many family members. I have so many family members just in this city and state. This literally could be anybody. Okay, I've got one brother here and just a multitude.
Right, but you talk about your brother, you talk about your mom, you talk directly about people, and there's a walk in there of like how do we have authentic conversations with people in front of their face, behind their back?
Yes.
Is there a line?
Yeah.
Like I think we do walk into some brave spaces or some unsafe spaces or some whatever it is. But like I think it's an interesting conversation of like you have brought a lot of things in that people may or may not like hearing themselves about on the podcast. And like, how do you know if you've talked about that enough with that person? I don't think you need to sanction like, hey, I can't talk about our relationship on a podcast. Like, you don't need to sign that off in a relationship. But you do need to sign it off on like talking. Like, what if you were just talking to us? Like, this happens without a podcast.
Yeah.
You're just talking to me on the side about this wedding stuff, and say you said it was all bullshit and it was crap,
which I didn't.
It was all that
He's
stuff.
really
You
using
didn't.
an
You did not
example.
say that.
God damn it!
Say you didn't say that.
God damn it!
You didn't say that.
I didn't say any of that.
What are you trying to defend against?
Listen.
We deleted the episode.
I'm just.
Should we start over?
I know. We're gonna keep it rolling. But like,
all right. If you know Casey on any level, you're gonna need NDAs.
Like for real.
And you need waivers because you're gonna be on the podcast.
But I'm saying that happens without podcasts.
Yes.
All the time. Like stuff is said to somebody
Yes.
and then it goes around in different channels. And I struggle with that myself as to like how truthful do I have to be with somebody to their face before I can talk about a conflict to someone else? I don't want to just vent. And just like if I've got a problem with you, Casey, and like you pissed me off about something, but I'm a Minnesotan, so I don't actually want to deal with that conflict face to face. But like there's a little wound in our relationship.
Yeah.
It's much more fun to just shit talk you with Nick, and then he can talk about all the times he's pissed about you.
Yeah.
And we can play that, and like what's the line of like, am I doing that conversation to make myself feel better, but it's at your expense, and I'm not healing the relationship? Versus when do we want to come forward and like, is the relationship that was lost even a relationship that was meant to be kept?
But I mean, at least from my point of view, and I can definitely be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things, but at least how I experienced it is you've kind of done it for the most part in I statements.
Yeah, that's what I'm fucking saying.
You go through your experience. This is what I experienced. If you have issues of how I portray it, okay, well then let's talk about it. Why was I left in South Africa alone?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm never out here just like trashing a motherfucker. I'm never out here like, oh, even when I'm talking about, oh, like, man, people be asking me to borrow money or whatever. I talk about the internal conflict that I face. I'm talking about, like, I'm not shitting on somebody who's like, oh, I'm trying to, Casey, I need help with this or I need help with that. I'm not like, oh, that's a broke ass bitch, or these motherfuckers ain't shit, or damn, your man's a whole motherfucking dope dealer and you asking me for money. I'm like, damn, I'm this person to so many people, and the internal conflict I feel is I want to be like, no, but then I feel fucked up about it, you know. And then it's like I'm processing who I am as a person. So I think what happened on that particular show was just like, I was just processing. This is the real thing that happened was, in this one space and place, I'm hearing that I'm a fucked up, jealous, sabotaging, awful, horrible human being. Mm-hmm. And it's not coming from one person. It's coming from a small collective of people telling me information about who I am. So the throughout the duration of the process, I'm like, is this who I really am in my core? Yep. Are other people around me not seeing this? Here goes these people who I have little to no interaction outside of a small slither of time. So if this is how they're all experiencing me and I'm showing up to them, am I really this fucked up as an individual? And then is the rest of my core people that I say fuck with me, people that have seen me cry at my lowest, people that really like rock with me on a very solid, intimate level, am I faking it for them? Am I pretending to be a person that I'm actually not? Am I really this like jealous, awful, terrible person who really like wants to intentionally do harmful things because I have like envy in my eyes, or like I see a motherfucker doing better than me and I want to knock a bitch down? Like, am I really that person in my heart? Because I don't walk through the world feeling that or thinking that. Mm-hmm. I don't live my life like that. Like, my life is so full. And my life is so full of shit that I've never actually woken up and like coveted or desired what somebody else had going on. So when I'm hearing titles and when I'm hearing myself being put in these box with these titles, I'm questioning who the fuck I am as a person. Cause I'm over here praying to God, asking me to step back in these therapy sessions. And Lord, please, you step forward and let me break these intergenerational, bounds and stuff like that. Like, I struggle with my mom having jealousy toward me and conflict with me because of where I'm at in life. So like, to hear that that's the type of person I am, and that's what people are saying they're experiencing multiple, but it's just this little pocket of this world in this situation. So then I'm looking at myself like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? What's the problem with me? And then I have like a historical trauma. So then the historical trauma is, when I was processing this with my grandma, like, oh my gosh, this happened. Like, I pulled the episode. My grandma's reaction was like, well, Casey, what's wrong with you? Mm-hmm. Like, have you not noticed that this is like the third core person, 20 more years of knowing you, that has now put you out of their life for whatever reason? And I can't even say anything like, Grandma, no, it's because every single situation is so situational. But she's like, the only person that I see in the situation is you. You're the only common person. And I'm like, well, Grandma, what do I do? She was like, I don't know. You just need to stop being how you are. You need to stop doing what you're doing. And I'm like,
stop being how you are?
Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
That's vague. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. And it's not fair.
Like, I don't know what it is about me that like a motherfucker could be like, Casey, you pissed me off, or you did something to me that I don't fuck that, you violated me. Just flat out, Casey, you violated me. But I'm in such a place with the violation and hurt was so deep. I am fully okay with removing you from my entire life for the remainder of my life, because then it's like, to me, it washes away every single moment we had. So then I'm thinking about, damn, so much history and so much of who I am, my core, has been built off of interactions with some of these people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then to hear that a flaw within me caused these people to disengage from me is very confusing, because the situations are so like, they're so highly situational that like I just don't know what I could have done to navigate out of them, other than like, don't talk about my own shit on this podcast, and then the rest of my lifespan would have been fine with this person, or like don't do a safety check with a group of friends. I'm with 5-6 other girls on the phone, and we're like, hey, we have a friend that's far away who's isolated. Hey, we're all worried about domestic fucking violence. Everybody's seen the movie enough. Nobody's heard from this person. No, what should we do? We're all sitting on the phone, and then we got this person's family member involved, and they're like, well, shit, here's their address. Here, like, what can we do a safety check? Casey, you work at a DV place. You know about safety check. Explain what a safety check is to us, because there's also another therapist on the phone. There were 2 therapists on the phone. One of them was licensed, one of them was unlicensed. Obviously, I was the unlicensed one. But there was 2 clinicians on that fucking phone call out of the 6 people that were on the call. So we got 5 other girls and this person's family member. And because I said, I'll call this city and state's non-emergency police line, and I'll say, let's do a welfare check on this friend who nobody's heard from and their child. But I said, should we do this? And everybody unanimously was like, yes, we will all do this. Well, and you know what? If she calls and asks, we'll all just deny it. But I am the one. Oh, Casey was the ringleader.
And that's my point, where I disagree with your grandmother on this point. In the sense of, if the goal is to just keep relationships no matter what,
yes,
then you did wrong in the sense of you were honest. Yep. You were speaking to your experience. You were sharing that with the world. But I see that as a brave thing. Not only with therapy, but with this podcast, is you're really putting yourself out there and putting yourself in danger because you're brave. And I mean, people think, oh, well, what's dangerous about being a therapist? There are so many ethical dilemmas and jackpots you can get caught up in, or like just getting just being in interaction with people that are troubled, and so many situations that could pop up in, and it makes most people wonder, like, well, why the fuck would I do that? But you had the brave stuff of like, I actually want to help people. I actually want to help people through this podcast, through therapy, and all of that, which is a huge, brave thing. But sadly, it comes with a cost, because a lot of people can't handle truth. They don't like when people speak to their experience, however painful it is. And so I just want to say, I see you as brave.
I appreciate that. I was like, damn, do I got to quit the podcast? Because I just felt like, what are the limitations here? So, like, I can't come here and talk about my life if it involves anybody else. So then it's like, okay, well, I mean, I thought I was talking about my life in relation to other people, but my life being the focus. So it's like, But
I think a lot of the things the reason I'm much more timid about sharing is partly because I see the possible damage that could be done by somebody taking what is said the wrong way. And I would say that I can think of a number of episodes that I'm sitting here going, oh my God, you're saying what about who? And that saying, like, that's the brave part, is like, are you ready for what might happen when they react to that and when they hear the actual truth? Because most of the time we don't say the truth about what that experience is to other people, and that keeps them in cool relationship with you, but then you go take the truth somewhere else.
Yeah.
And for you to put it somewhere where it can be said, same thing about South Africa. Yeah, you're talking about just your experience, what I experienced. But I could easily say, if we put up a face of one of the people who left you there sitting on the side of the road waiting for an Uber, I think a lot of people would be like, fuck them, based on hearing the story. Now, you didn't say fuck them.
Right.
But you told the truth. And then people are going to bring in their judgments. People are going to bring in their perspective on that stuff. And, are you hurting people who don't deserve to be hurt? Are you the active hurting person? Or is it some degree of like, when you put the truth to relationships, most of them aren't real. And once the truth comes out, you go, oh, wait, I was holding on to a fake the whole time. Hurts, but
And to speak to this medium we're using, which has also terrified me, and that's why I don't speak up as much, is you just gave an impassioned speech. Tears in your eyes, talking about your experience, the pain, the flaws you're experiencing, the questioning, and how it wraps up in your spirituality. A beautiful speech. But someone can listen to this podcast, go to a time mark, oh, she said that, then that's all they hear, and then that's all you are to them.
Easily.
And that's messed up. Like I would love them to hear the whole thing, so there's a context, so you can understand where we're coming from. Maybe listen to a few episodes so you understand that we're coming from a good place and all that. But sadly, that's not how people interact with some of these media. They just say, oh, there's a timestamp. Oh, she said that. Oh, then we're done.
Yeah, I just, and the shit caught me off guard because I literally, like, Friday, John, we had just had that.
Bingo.
Oh, listen, honestly, it was Friday. Friday. I'm fucking already crashing the fuck out at this point.
It was a dramatic Friday morning.
All type of admin bullshit. I have somebody I'm supervising.
B32
just went the fuck off on me.
I-45
out of nowhere over a bingo game. Got John involved. Got John acting like he's the damn courier person. I don't even know that company.
I do want to be the courier person.
Like Postmates or some shit. Like
hiring.
We're those people in New York City that have those like roll up things where they're on bikes and they have to like deliver like the architects like fucking shit. Like I'm like, okay, that's not like, I literally just got like flipped the fuck out of the clear blue sky, cussed the fuck out. I'm just like, wow.
By a close relationship.
By a close fucking relationship.
Means a lot to you. Yep,
yes, and I was so like caught off guard. I was super surprised. Like when I texted you back, like, John, you were like, I don't like this, Casey. You were like, I don't fucking like this. I was like, yeah, like me neither. So it was like, that was Friday. And then Saturday, I thought I got ghosted. So I listen, side asterisk, trashy date. Thought I got ghosted.
The cowboy lives on. You give us some good news.
I thought I got ghosted. So then I reached out to a psychic for $7.
Oh, that's
She
helpful.
gave me a crazy answer. Then I said, bitch, I don't trust your words. I'm about to call California psychics for $20 fucking dollars. This bitch with some faux locks named Saba. Okay, I'm like, why did this dude ghost me? She's like, he's got hella.
You paid for one psychic, didn't like the answer, and then paid for a more expensive psychic to get a better answer. That is awesome.
$27 to find out why you got ghosted. Okay, $27 fucking dollars. And then she's like, yeah, he's got hoes. You're dumb for thinking that. You're not about to be like, no, he's not. He's never going to contact you. Like, why would you think that? Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, Saba, why? And she's like, yeah, you need to work on yourself. And I'm like, oh no. And then I get this barrage of fucking texts like, you're not shit. You're a jealous, weird ass bitch. Like, you're fake. I'm like, oh my God.
Like the psychic was coming at you?
No, that was a text that got the podcast.
I got it. All right.
Goodbye.
That was first it was the shit. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm getting it from all fucking directions. I was just like at my fucking peak capacity for like high octane bullshit. I'm like, this is like a 72-hour span of just real cut of the edge classic shenanigans. I'm just like, dancing. Of course, I call my grandma. I'm like, Grandma, and she's like, you're the problem.
Yep.
You're the problem. The only way to fix it is to change what you're doing. And I'm like, what am I doing? She's like, I don't know. You're doing something. Look at the outcomes. Look at your life. Like that you're like the issue. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, handy bendy boy. She's like, well, maybe you can't talk about people on the podcast that you know. And I'm like, that's every fucking body in my life that I know. So I guess I just, then that's why I was like, oh, maybe I should just not do the podcast
anymore. We talk about
anymore.
Sports.
Right?
Yeah.
Our wonderful light queen.
I'll just like read headlines and you'll react to them.
This will turn into some really political.
Not our expertise. We'll go by the newest editions of the DA.
Yeah.
When it comes out in the diagnostic.
Or
the DSM, whatever it is.
Just literally do the dream bucket.
Just only dream bucket. Only dream bucket.
No, I mean, and if you felt uncomfortable doing it, that's fine. But but I mean, we can put some boundaries on it in the sense of like, okay, all fake names and
it was already it was no identifying information.
I think there's going to always be people pissed off with this.
Well, but I mean, I've been challenging already in some of these, situations where it just, if a pattern seems off sometimes and you get yourself into fucked up situations where there's drama, it's that, it's like enabler kind of setup. Like you giving and you're giving and you're giving and you're giving, and then you run out to give, and then like, what the fuck, you don't got more? And it's like, wait, this is. You're putting yourself into relationships that nothing's coming back. At least that's what I'm hearing, right? And I don't want to judge too much on like I'm not hearing the other people's side or anything like that. But like it just smells like you're doing so much and giving all the time, and then it's not actually a two-way relationship. They're happy to have you come and fly out there and hang out for the thing, but they're not loving you in the genuine, authentic way that you deserve to be, like cared for, like, and maybe having some of these relationships for a long time. I mean, I'm learning this, myself too, of like, what looked like a great relationship, didn't stand the test of time. Well, and then I'm like, well, is that me? Is it me that causing, like, I've had some of those same thoughts of like, so many long-term relationships or people I thought were going to be close or people I was like, oh, my vision of this is what's going to happen. Like those not panning out. And as I grow and we go through hardships, people aren't making it through to the other side. And then that begs the question of like, is that internally something going on with me where like other people got all these buddies and they're going to hang out for so long and they're all so tight and they're all so close. And why can't I have that?
That's what I'm saying.
Why do I feel more and more isolated the more I grow into myself as a person?
Yeah.
And I'm going with the theory for now, and I could be wrong. I only live once, but I'm going with the theory for now that is the cost of, like going on your own spiritual path. And now when I do connect to people, though, I do think that touches a more real, authentic nerve than what I was touching before, but not everybody's ready for that level.
Yeah. And that comes with a cost. Cause I hear this a lot from people that weren't raised in Minnesota, that they're like, oh, it's weirdly like it's weird how everyone's like friends with people they grew up. Like that's less of a thing in other places. Like it's just like, oh, it's like you knew each other in elementary school and now you're all still friends. And we can romanticize that. Oh, they're a big part of our lives and they're all this thing. But we also can, what to John's point is like, oh, but what if someone grew up and changed and that viewpoint didn't, what they were doing didn't go with your value system anymore.
Yeah.
Should we just stay with that and slowly resent them and just to do that? Or should we just like speak the truth and hopefully maybe that can enrich the relationship? But if they're not ready to have that relationship, is that really your fault for, just speaking to your truth? And
that, I guess like I've been obviously like since that situation happened, I've been like reflecting on it and I felt bad and terrible. Like, oh, pull the episode. Like, should I just quit the podcast? So, I was having all these things and then I was like, damn, like, and I guess the other tricky part about it was like literally almost 365 days ago too. It's like I'm not even like at that place in life. Like I went to therapy, I'm in a different chapter of my dissertation, and there's all these other constraints where it's like now I'm in such a different. So like I was, that intro Megan Thee Stallion was really like I was also salty. Like damn, I know exactly who kicked the shit off, which was so weird to me because like that was the first time I had ever interacted with that person beyond like just a shift of like, okay, you're coming to work, I'm leaving work, or I'm coming to work, you're leaving to work. So I had like sat down and just been in the same physical space with them, and then they were just like curious because I didn't talk on the shift. I didn't really say too much. I really was just kind of like to myself doing my own thing, and then like just hearing like that all that came from like just like a little interaction. It just is like, you like weird ass, messy ass bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who does that shit? But then it's like, oh, well, am I the messy one? I was like, this was so long ago. And then like, I was crying, re-listening to the episode to like really just listen with like an open heart and like an open mind. Like, were you being malicious? Like, were you being hurtful? I'm like, which parts of these things would you not feel comfortable repeating to this person? And I was like, I said all this shit ad nauseum to like anybody with ears in the brain. Like I said this to I fucking said this.
A lot of the things on there you'd already talked. There were stories of you in conflict talking to people about stuff that you're frustrated about. Yeah.
Like, so I was so bewildered by it of like, then I was like really resentful to myself because I was just like, now I need to pivot and like be different and show up different, and like I don't know what that looks like and I don't know what that feels like. And then I had this like rebellious part that was like, well, if I'm gonna change to accommodate all these people in my life, to like protect their privacy, even though we're just all living in the fucking free world, and it's like nobody's like fondling me in a closet, like don't tell, these are just regular things that are openly happening in reality, and like it just happens to be my reality, and I'm just saying, hey, this is what, and like the thing about us even starting this podcast was I just be coming in chopping it up with y'all,
right?
Like this shit happened this week, and y'all be like, that's fucking crazy, or like, damn, Casey, did you think about that? Like, I'm not always like right, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like this isn't a podcast full of like 3 people who are all in perfect harmonious alignment.
We argue with you.
Like that's what I'm saying. So like I'm not saying like, oh, I'm so perfect or my idea is so perfect, but like I kind of get like,
you're vulnerable,
called the fuck out. Like if I'm on some bullshit, like if you're like, oh, you're not thinking about it like this, or Casey, you have unrealistic expectations of a relationship of that. Like, you know what I mean? I also feel like there's like,
well, then you get up on the microphone and share your truth,
Yeah.
It's just like,
hey, you are welcome to join.
Exactly.
Anybody who got drama want to give Casey a text, I'll have the fourth mic right here.
You're doing a brave thing, and also this is no budget. This is 3 friends who are just talking with each other with equipment John bought, and it's like
and
Zachary. Shout out to Zachary and all of his help with the editing and everything. And so, like, if you want to start a talk show, and if you had a budget, then we could have celebrity guests and talk about their movie, or like have political commentaries and like all that stuff. But we're
just flirt with all of them,
and that's fine.
Right? Who is into a chocolate plump woman and shit? I'll be a mistress.
Bezos would be like, "Can we talk about Amazon?" I am taken.
But that's the thing. We do not have that access. We don't have that resource. So we make use of what we got, which is Casey's life.
And all our lives, we're the content. So that's what I don't like see myself going through my life like, ooh, this would be great for like after the fact.
It's just, how are you doing today? Well, there's something happened.
Let me tell you what happened. Like I'll get through a situation and be like, I can't wait to say this shit, like, because it's so. I just be getting in such ridiculous situations that people are like, oh, you should write a book, or you should do it. Like literally when I talk to my friends. But don't mention me. Like, when I talk to my friends about my week, they'll be like, if I didn't know you, I would think that you were lying, but I physically know you and see all this ridiculous shit happening to like one person. And it's just funny afterward, but it's just like, wow, this is wild. And I'm like, oh, I never think anything of it because it's just my life.
And the thing I want to really like stress, because I relate a lot to this, and I get into this where, I'm having a fight with my partner and they are, saying, okay, we hash it out, we get through all the things, and they're like, well, why are you still upset? And I catch myself being like, well, I'm upset that this one thing caused us to have this conversation, and I get really focused on, and this can be with like in therapy and in life, of just like, okay, if I left work 10 minutes earlier, I wouldn't have gotten in a car accident, or like, those kind of things, and really focusing on like, oh, if I just like that hindsight 2020 thing, where it's like, if I just did something different, none of this would have happened. If I just didn't say that to my coworker, all of this would have not been the issue.
That's what I've been feeling.
And it drives me nuts.
Slow that down.
But at the same time, we don't have control of that.
No.
We just have to live our lives the best we can.
Yeah.
And it can be so frustrating to look at it in hindsight, but I don't want you to drive yourself crazy thinking, oh, I have to do things perfect, because that's literally impossible.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've been like anxious about even like doing this podcast today, because I was like, can I even talk about, like John, I really like that even leading up to it, like we've kind of processed it a little bit, and you're like, let's process it on the podcast. And when you said that, like I was so scared.
Oh, really?
Like I was so terrified.
I made you scared on the podcast? That's like, supposed to be the other way around.
I was so scared. I was like, is it okay for me to talk about myself? Is it okay for me to talk about my experiences? Like, and now the episode is gone.
Yes.
Fine.
We already deleted it. We can talk about the deleting of it. Okay, fuck them if they want us to delete it again. It's not happening. We already gave you your deletion.
Like, so
that's enough.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like, well, is it okay to talk around this? Like,
yes.
is it okay?
It's all, and it's up to you what's okay.
Right.
And so we get careful. We get caught in this thing socially where it's about doing no harm to anyone else.
Yeah.
Where it's actually it's other people's responsibility to check what harms them and what doesn't harm them. And I believe too that that's something that they can communicate and they can find their way through that. If we go out and preemptively take away the fact that something might harm someone else, we're not loving them and we're not respecting them. It's not respectful of you for me to tiptoe around you to make sure that you're feeling okay. That's not love, because I'm not telling you that you can take care of yourself. It's respectful of me to hear what you have to say when you say, hey, there's this thing that's been bothering me, what's been going on. But even if what I'm doing is bothering you, that's still not my responsibility yet. It's not on me that it's bothering you. It's you that it's bothering you. You chose to walk back in the room with me. You chose to listen to this podcast. If this thing's bothering you, that's your choice. We flip this thing around where we think that we're supposed to take care of the well-being of all the people around us.
Well, let me give you pushback that I received on, from the hurt. Like, and I'm going to just name it as like hurt, right? I can imagine if somebody walked into their job and then heard that somebody that they love and care about has been like down in them or just been so negative about something, because I don't even know what the fuck the context was, right? I only know the context of like, I know what I said, but I don't know what this person heard or what they were told. Like, I don't even know how it came to them. So like, I don't even have any information about that. And I never will because, I'm excommunicated, right? So the pushback that I'm gonna give on that is like, well, then what do you do when this person's like, it seems like you're like living for like having me be a topic of your life and situation. So like, I don't want to be a topic of like verbatim. I don't want to be a topic of your, stop using me, stop using my life, stop using, like, this is why I don't fuck with you. This is why I won't fuck with you, in loose base terms of like, this is why I'm not rocking with you because you got me fucked up. So then when you're saying it's not my responsibility, this is where I was like, take it down. It literally, if I would have thought for a minute that anything that I said would have made them hurt or upset, I just wouldn't even said it. I think I felt so comfortable because I had already said it so many times to them, to everybody, like to multiple people that were in the party and, just curious of like, what the fuck is going on? So when you're saying like, oh, it's on the person who's also hurt to take care of their hurt, like my pushback is like, is that really true? Because if you're in relation with somebody, like I'm in relation and connection with them, so like, aren't I responsible for if they hurt at my hands?
But you just said you didn't know.
Exactly.
Right.
You had no idea.
If they said, please don't talk about my wedding on the podcast, it's really important to me, it means a lot to me, I don't even think you have to say yes. But if you said yes, then yeah, don't fucking talk about it on the podcast. But you didn't know any harm was going to be done. But we hold people accountable for the fact that, ooh, you bumped into me. Now you're the fucking bad person. It's like, well, I didn't mean to bump into you. And now you're mad at me. Now you're doubling down. And now what are you doing? You're deleting this podcast episode. It's not even going to do any repair. You just feel ashamed because you didn't want to hurt somebody. Because that was your role in that relationship, was to give to that person, to try to take care of them and help them out. And that's the way that connection. And then they want that from you. They can turn and they can demand more of you because they know that you're going to pour in. And they don't got to pour anything back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the safest way to be in a relationship is to not be in a relationship.
Yes. Damn fucking straight. Like that.
Because kind of
says
like
the guy just got married.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
That's the newlywed Nick over here. The easiest and safest way to do this.
He likes to dive out of airplanes.
Yeah.
And so, so if we're really talking about not hurting people, it's just, all right, I'm going to isolate in an apartment and not talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, because, and I know you run into this in therapy and I do as well. Like, we're just trying our best and someone didn't like the way we said something or I spoke about something that was taboo. And even though I didn't know it was taboo, and it's like, yes, you could like, all right, let's look down the checklist and okay, that could be possibly offensive. That could be possible. Right. But like, that's a never ending list.
Yeah.
And
I love a good list because I'm a Virgo, but I don't know that I can. Yeah. Like, I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And, ironically, that was that devastating, hurtful thing. And I was like, I don't know how to make repair. I don't know how to repair this. Like, I was just like, just profusely apologizing, like just taking accountability. Because like when
You're taking accountability, but Casey, you still don't actually believe that you did anything wrong. You're apologizing for her.
I'm apologizing because I hurt somebody that I really love. And I'm apologizing because through me...
And it's your fault that you hurt them?
Yeah, because I was the bad actor.
Bad? What you did was bad?
Yeah. Like, I mean, in the sense of like, I hurt somebody that I care about and love. And
someone was hurt in relationship with you.
Uh-huh.
Them being hurt also hurt you. You're both hurt at the same time.
Yes.
And we do this thing where we get into victim perpetrator. This is the model we like to live inside. It's fucking bullshit. The truth is that you're in a relationship, you're going to get hurt. You were in a relationship at an intimate level with a person, and hurt was experienced by one of those people. Yeah, if you had done different things, hurt wouldn't have happened. Fine. Also, if she hadn't gotten married and then done this wedding party thing and had these things go this way, you wouldn't have had to say something that then you were hurt. You were expressing your pain because you got hurt first. You were the one who was hurt through that whole experience. And then you talked about your hurt, and you talking about your hurt them. And now you want to tell the story and say, oh, I'm the bad actor. I hurt them. No, that's what they want you to think. That's what they want. They want to turn somebody who's not relationship ready. Somebody's not ready for the fact that if we're in a relationship with each other, we're going to hurt each other. We're going to go through these situations, and we need to go through them together. Not say, you need to apologize to me and say you're sorry. You need to change your behavior. And that's what we do. We take the kid. When the kid hits the other kid, we go, you need to say sorry to that other kid.
Yeah.
You did the wrong thing. And we give them the face. And we give them all the bad feelings. They go, I'm a bad kid. I'm a bad kid right now. I need to stop this. I need to not be a bad kid. I just hurt the other kid. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, the kid who hurt the other kid, you know why? I just had these two kids fighting at the playground yesterday. Now I'm watching I had like the three kids that I brought that were all playing basketball together. I wasn't watching them at all, so I missed the fact. And Troy's way better at basketball and Isaac's small. And so they're going 2-on-1. They're going 2-on-1, and like Troy went in for the steal, and the other guy claims that he got hit really hard by Troy's head on his chin, and it's a foul. Okay, it's basketball. Okay, all fouls are debatable, and you're 6 and 7, so I'm pretty sure your sense of fouls isn't great. But he didn't apologize. He didn't let the foul be called. Blah blah blah. All that stuff. And then the two on the one side who agree, I think they shouldn't even play with this other guy anymore because he won't agree on what this foul is. And it's like, well, no, this is what happens when you all play the game together. If you want to play the game together, you're going to have to come through this. Like, I understand why you don't think you fouled him. It's really frustrating that they called that. And then I also understand on the other side that you think you got fouled and you're hurt and you're frustrated in this game, that you're upset at them. Now, you can sit in there and say, oh, I'm only upset because this person doesn't know how to play. And the other person wants to say, I'm only upset because this person doesn't want to. Well, now guess what we do? We killed relationship there.
Well, I guess that's why I felt like I'm the bad actor because of the hurt that I caused, that they're experiencing, caused them to be like, I no longer want to engage a relationship with you, so there's no potential for me to get hurt.
So they can hurt you back. What? She did that to hurt you back. Because all the text messages were filled with guilting you, shaming you, calling you a bad person. She's trying to hurt you back.
Okay, because let me put this in a different light, and I like that you brought in, kids' behavior, although we might get canceled for that because you talked about the basketball game. But
sorry,
anyway.
Troy.
But anyway, so you're at a grocery store with your kid, and the kid says, oh, I want this video game. And you said, no, we don't. I'm not going to buy the video game for you. Oh, come on, Ma. I want the video game. I want the video game. No, we can't have the video game. Screams in the grocery store, throws up the tantrum. The only way to fix this situation is to buy me this video game.
I've seen this so many times.
And a lot of people give in because there's like, okay, I don't want the scene. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel like a bad parent. Like, look at all these things.
I'm sorry, I can't get it for you.
Right. But the actual thing is to push through that. And it's like, no, I'm holding a boundary. And I'm saying, like, this is not okay. And, to John's point, I think it's like, yeah, she was hurt by this. I understand. And also, I don't think you did anything wrong. You just spoke to it maybe in a public setting. Okay. Yeah, but, I think she is, lashing out a bit because she's hurt, understandably.
And then I was like, I just want to respect the boundary, right? Because I was like, no matter, even if I don't, I can agree that I caused hurt based on, I can agree that hurt was experienced at my hands, right? I can agree that like what I said hurt and offended and caused confusion or some sort of uneasy, like I can agree with that. And then what I was met with is like, okay, Casey, because of this, the boundary that I'm putting is like, I'm going to protect myself from any further hurt from you. So you will not have the opportunity to hurt me, where you don't have the opportunity to make repair, to heal and get past this, but you also don't have the opportunity to hurt me anymore. And like people throw up walls, and like, so I'm just so sad and hurt because like now it's like I have to just respect that boundary. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't, like, I'm not going to try to push and be like, oh, fuck that. I'm going to like show up to your crib and put a boombox over my head and like, just like I jog in the rain. Like, like I'm powerless to the hurt. Right. So I have to just like surrender and know that like, I mean, that, it does make me feel like that hindsight 2020. And that is why I was like, man, maybe the thing that makes it spun me out of control is it was like, I literally just start calling people. Like, if I do something, like, can you please give me grace? Please don't, I'm so sick of like being like excommunicated out of people's life. And then it's like, it's at my hand. Like, it's literally something that I'm always doing. So it's like, I'm literally the common denominator in it. So it's like, damn, Casey, you're kind of a shit person. But it's like, for me, it's so hard because I'm just living my life. And like, I don't know the thing that's going to be somebody's last straw with Casey. Like, what is the last fucking straw with Casey?
And you'll never know because like going back to the metaphor, it's just like, yes, that mother caused hurt because the kid didn't get a video game. But at the same time, are you responsible with that hurt for?
So if the kid runs away with that same metaphor, if the kid says, you know what, I've been a great child, I got good grades, I've done all these things, we have a good relationship, Mom, and I feel like you're being fucked up because I don't ask a lot of you and I just wanted this game. Now I'm going to run away. Like, I'm going to run away and I'm about to be like on the streets, get a how I live. And like, when you see that, like, I'm not at Thanksgiving, I'm not at Christmas, I'm fucking cut off from you. When I have kids later on in life, you won't see those fucking kids. You're not going to be anybody's grandma. You're not going to be anybody's nana. You and Pop not going to do no fucking photos. Like, this is like, because you didn't get that video game, you didn't know how deep that shit would run. Because if you had you would have just bought the game. But now I'm going to really show you for real, because what I'm going to meet you with is like, I'm going to just remove you from my life permanently.
Yeah, I still wouldn't say the mom did anything wrong because, one, she didn't know that. And then, two, I mean, you have to set a boundary somewhere. You have to, okay, we'll take it to, politics. Like, okay, if you don't, like kind of like hostage type stuff, right? Okay, if you have to kill these 4 people to save 400. It's like, okay, where do we draw the line? Like, it's a responsibility. We're all human.
It's overly fucking analytical. It's just the way we fucking look at these situations. Like, even the way you told that is so fucking awful. Like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way that kid only did it because of the video game. Like, that's the lie. It's just like what you were talking about where it's like, it's that one thing I could have done differently. It's like, no, we live in a world full of hurt people. Covered in wounds from being hurt, for generations of hurting each other over and over again, covered in wounds and hurting all the time. And sometimes our blisters run into each other's blisters and we start yelling and we hurt more people. Sometimes we have moments of healing where we get a little bit better. But how many times do we have people in our lives who could be close to us, but they're not because they think that if this had happened differently and if that had happened differently, then you aren't a motherfucker and I want to be around you now. But what it is, it's the seeds. Little seeds are planted. And sometimes when they're 3 or when they're 6 or when they're 8 or whatever it is, and they tell this story and the story's little, and then the story grows, and then the story grows, and they keep telling it. It's like these little whispers in their ear.
Yeah.
And then one day, you don't give me a fucking video game. Or one day, I drank too much of that bottle and I started cussing. One day, some shit fucking happened. And now all the stories are true. But it's really, it's so much more energy in that tapestry of hurt that's coming in.
Yeah.
And we could play this game, right? Continue, like another narrative. Okay, you're a security officer. Some guy shoplifts. You you catch him, he gets arrested. Well, that could have been the future president that prevents World War III, and you just destroyed the world.
Yeah.
Did that person do anything wrong? I mean, obviously didn't know all that context, and even, you know, it's like you would drive yourself insane trying to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from my point of view, what you did was shared your hurt live on air. And, yeah, I mean, it's scary in a vulnerable place, and sadly that is a cost. And so if you don't feel comfortable doing this on the podcast, I'd understand 100%, because it is a brave thing, and you've been brave for years doing it. And you know, but at the same time, you know, I'm just going to say that in life, you don't know all the consequences for anything. You do the best you can.
Yeah. Oh, that's real. I appreciate that, guys. Man.
It's painful, though. I mean, it really is.
And I'm sorry for the hurt. I'm sorry for the hurt all around.
Yeah.
Sorry for her hurt.
Yeah.
Your hurt. Yeah. I'm sorry that it was a situation. You know, you could be sorry for the situation, right? Like, oh, wow, that's shit. Like, like the chain of events that happened. That's so unfortunate and tragic. But I just don't want you blaming, like, saying, like, I'm a bad person, or like
it's hard not to internalize it. Not even also like, ooh, I'm a victim. Like, you know, I'm a grown adult fucking woman. Like, I've got a high ass BMI, so it's not like shit. I'm just like a little baby frail in the corner. It just, you know, it just is fucked up. It's just a fucked up thing, and I've been brooding on it, you know. And of course, it doesn't help social media where it's like all these sub posts of like, you know, just. I just have to, like, I don't know, man. It doesn't help when you like see things that you know are about you and about the situation online. It's like, oh man, you know, I know this is about me, and it's like, you know, it hurts even more because you see how much what you did has hurt somebody, and you never want to hurt a person like that. So then it's like, you know, and yeah, I think it really kind of fucked me up. My grandma, like, you know, because it's like I'm willing to change. Like, I would love to change. Like, how can I be better? Like, I'm always down to grow, you know. And I was talking to Bird about this, and he gave me a really, really real ass perspective. So I kind of, you know, I think that's why I didn't like just quit, because I was ready to throw in the towel, John. Okay, after that party when you took it out, I was like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be demonized. Like, you know, I mean, you guys hear some of these like episodes, the presidential episode, like even that shit with fucking Christine with Empinger. Yeah, I'm gonna say it first and last name, bitch. Be a big titty bitch. Like, when she was like, me and Casey Twardowski spent an entire time hating you. And every second of every moment, we just hated you. Like, just, you know, like, I'm a person who's experienced a person just frivolously despising you for no reason. So like, if a person says to me like, oh, you're jealous, or like, to me that is so triggering, because it's like, I've actually experienced people like having that kind of smoke for me, and I just don't have that kind of vitriol for anybody, because like I don't like desire anybody's life, like, you know. But like, if what I did makes you think that's what it is for, like, you know, if that's why you think I did it, then like that hurts me, because you are hurt because I did that. It's just, yeah, it's a.
I don't want to take like a half a moment too to just say like that there's so much pain in going through those experiences, and I can relate on not having people directly hate me exactly so explicitly, and I'm sure Nick can relate on, you know, like losing relationships that we, you know, over what seemed like small things, or things get said out of context, or things get taken, and like there is a lot of dreams of relationship and hope of people that I had love for, and relationships I've invested in that I have had to admit over the recent years they're dead, and it may not be as explicit as a text message every time that it's dead, but they're not going anywhere, and there's no life there, there's no pulse, and you're still there. You know, if they came back around and there was a chance for healing, you're still a part of you wishes for it, but like, man, so much relationship is lost. Yeah, and it's just, we're all in it. Like, these are the stories you're sharing, and we're unburdening them in our own lives and saying like, this is here just to name. This is like, it's not, relationships aren't that that model thing that kind of gets brainwashed, we're realizing there's other truth to it. Is like there's a whole lot, like the good ones are scarce, and you got to really treat them.
And it's such a delicate balance, because I think, just speaking from my own experience, I've had a lot of lost relationships and regrets about relationships, but it's from the other end of the spectrum, because I played it too safe. I didn't really connect with them. I didn't really put myself in there because I was afraid how I'd show up or showing that vulnerability or, I didn't put myself in those relationships. And I have a lot of regret with like, oh, we could have been probably great friends, or we could have done this. But for where I was at in life or whatever reason, a lot of my life I lived in fear, and so I'd never really related to a lot of people. And that's what I'm trying to connect as an adult, but then when you're an adult, it's like, all right, a lot of damage has already been done. And so that's I share that story with you just to say, like, it's not as simple as like, oh, okay, then I just won't talk. Or like, oh, I just won't, speak to it.
He's got a microphone here,
right? You gotta put yourself. It's a delicate balance, and every relationship is a unique balance. So it's not as simple as like, don't share your feelings or just don't speak up, because that causes damage too.
That's damage too. So go back to the video game analogy. I mean, it's that in parenting, having to just admit the impossibility of the balance, and your kids say it's not fair. It's like, it ain't, and I am kind of arbitrarily deciding to try to find fairness here, and back and forth, and there's an odd reason why I didn't get the video game last time and I got a video game this time and I didn't this and I didn't, and all I'm actually asking is you trust me that I'm just trying to navigate that middle as to when am I giving too much and when am I giving too little, because they both do harm, and it's not black and white as to when I'm on which side of that line. And that even here, like, you're navigating, like, it's not that you're walking into that weird, difficult space too. And I'll also then say that I never intended to be on a podcast that I was talking at all about my own personal life. Did not have that kind of courage to be vulnerable in that way. I intended this to be a space where I was fielding questions and bringing in other people's ideas and facilitating and mediating. I was ready for that. And it is your fault. So you're over here just with this, really sharing, and I'm like, well, I can go in a little bit, but I'm still in the back of my mind. Even on this, I've had at least 8 times on this podcast where I'm saying something that's related to someone in my life that I'm close to that could possibly be connected, and I don't want who to figure out that I'm talking about this experience or what I'm going through right now. As explicitly, like, what if they knew and then they got offended? I have a little motor in my head that's playing. That's trying to protect me.
Maybe I need the fucking motor, because I'm just like, here's what my week is like.
Fuck the motor.
I need to figure out, because you kept up with them vegetables. Okay, you were talking about tomato. You made a whole fucking salad, and I'm just hungry. Like, what the fuck?
Well, the dude texted me and said, I'm the cucumber.
Cucumber was like, I'm a cucumber, bitch. Like, what's up?
Like a week or two later.
Well, shit. I mean,
And it didn't all blow up exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is this even Dream Bucket worthy episode?
What time is it? We got time for a dream.
We got time for one.
Showtime. Casey should read it.
I need a dream right about now. I need a dream right about now. Let me get a dream right now.
I dream of everyone just being nice to me. Just a week, 7 days.
For real. Children run the world. I dream of children run the world for a whole day.
What the fuck would happen?
Depends on the kid.
Well, what if it's all children? So then just like...
Well, are we talking like Children of the Corn style, or is it like a little mini NATO, okay, Macron's son is now president. Like, how does this work?
Those kids are fucking boring. They're gonna be like, feed everybody, peace everywhere. Like, no, I want the fucking real ass kids. Like, free chains and grills for everybody. Everybody gets the fucking Escalade.
So we'd be broke.
Yeah.
When we wake up the next day, the grown-ups would be like, we are now doubled our debt.
And there's at least one nuke going off. Yep. I'm just going to say there's at least one nuke.
Some fucking middle school girl is like, I'm going to get you, Tanya, you bitch. And just going to nuke the whole fucking.
I did catch a story about a school district that had banned phones in this, which I love the idea of getting the phones out of the classroom. But of course, I mean, this is the catch to it. It's like the kids have already largely hacked the system by which they have the magnets to like they lock the phones in these magnets that only the teachers have, but then the kids have found ways to snake the magnets or get their own magnets and then open up the phones. It's like you just. Yeah, they'd figure out the nukes.
Yeah.
Even if it seems hard.
If they ran the world for a day, I could do a day with kids running the world. I largely feel like, and this is just an unpopular opinion, if you have kids, if you're not like a abusive ass parents, kids kind of do run the world because everybody's on their fucking kids' schedule. Like, oh, I got to pick my kids up from school. Oh, I got to make sure I get my kids dinner. Oh, you and fucking Kirsten are like, oh, we got to make lunch for the night. So I kind of feel like they're low key.
They're the lead role.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like one of those like shadow government. It's just a bunch of fucking kids. Just a bunch of fucking like 12 to 13-year-olds.
But then what if they just ran like the household? Like, what if I just like was like, all right, whatever, you know, you're in charge. What are we doing today? And well, they can't drive.
Now, wait a second.
Access the bank accounts necessarily.
Now, my friend Allie Cat, right? Her mom had a no rules day for them.
Ooh.
And it was just you wake up and there's no rules. So you want Oreos and M&Ms for breakfast? She's like, we used to watch Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. We didn't have to go to school. They would just for the whole day. It was just once a quarter. And it would just be random. No looking forward to it.
I like random.
Yes.
It just pops up.
Yep. The mom didn't want to do she didn't want them looking forward to it. She just wanted to have them have that random hope. And, you know, she's like, we'd be excited going to bed because we would be like, are we going to wake up on no rules day? Like they just didn't fucking know. And then one day they just woke up and their mom burst into their room with like a crazy sweater with a bunch of buttons, like no rules day! And like they just would be like out of their fucking minds, and they would just go random places. They go to Walmart, just spending money, just, you know, like, man, I mean, they're pretty wealthy, so they live near a castle.
Yeah. I need to go to my therapist. I keep getting like horror, like, you know, ideas like, oh, it's just a purge, no rules day. Like, mom's dead. Oh no. I need help. I know.
One of the things that always sticks me up about it is like, would they actually be able to access? Like, what level of power would they successfully wield in 24 hours? Because does no rules mean that they get my passwords to my bank account and all my cards?
Look.
Right? Like, it's just because they're in charge.
Like, or do they get, like, Congress jobs and it's like, oh, wait, well, we literally can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, we literally
because they don't even know how to write the bills.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, even if you did, it's just like, oh, it just doesn't work.
Just some 7-year-old doing a filibuster, like, just like using Pokemon cards. I mean, yeah, kind of. But I did just see that, was that 8-year-old who ordered $300 worth of groceries from like Kruger's, and like the mom got out the shower and was like, what is all this? And it was like ice cream sandwiches and like just like 10 cases of chips, and like the mom was so fucking mad. It was so many bags of groceries. I was like, damn.
I'm secretly hopeful that part of like the next evolution of society involves actually way more leaning on young generations. Like, they're just going to start taking over, so there's going to be some amount of like, just like, we got to hope for the best with an amount of them like being on the front of technology, being on the front of knowing how to use stuff, and like being more involved in leadership rather than this idea that like you have to have a lot of gray hair and already gone through menopause before.
I don't know, man. I think they're going to be pretty paralyzed because these kids now are dumb as hell. Not like stupid, but just like they're like socially inept because of all the social media stuff. So although like mental health is at the forefront of our society, like actual human interaction and engagement is like so abysmally low. So it's just this weird balance where it's like, I want to be close to you. I have anxiety. I have depression. I have this. I have that. Like, it's okay to talk about this. I identify as this. I identify as that, but I don't want to go outside. So it's kind of like, I don't know how we're going to get shit done, because they were just saying we're going to have an entire generation of people who don't do foundational work like plumbing, welding, masonry stuff. They're like, we don't even know how our society's going to keep going. I was like, well, I'm about to just watch that shit burn.
Well, I think at least with that last point, I think it actually will balance out because at least working with a lot of folks in that generation, they're seeing the scam that is college.
Oh yeah,
and they're like, okay, I can just go train now to do plumbing and make way more than I would in communications. So I think it'll balance out. But I think the point is well taken. Where okay. Because of COVID, because of social media, because of technology, like generations that grew up, their parent was the internet. That's gotta affect society somehow moving forward. And I don't know. I don't really trust the internet, so I don't know if it's for the better. But
well, they said millennials are gonna not marry, but just like work in collaboration with like Gen Z, because Gen Z is like 19 to 25 now. And like millennials are like in their 30s or something. I don't know, but they can't relate to the generation under them.
Like 24 and older.
Yeah.
And then Gen Z is like anybody 5 to 10, all the way up to 25 or so.
Yikes. Okay. Well.
Right? Because it's millennials. Anybody born in 81, 82, 83 to 2000.
Okay.
So 24-year-old.
Are you sure? Because what are the 96 is somebody?
I don't know if it's exactly scientific, but yeah.
For the people who coined the term.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
You can identify whatever you want, but I'm a baby boomer, baby. But no, I hear that a lot from people like that are our Gen Zers being like, "You gotta watch out for Generation Alpha, man. Like you think we're bad, like So
You just confused the fuck out of me with the idea that now the kids are going to be identifying as different generations at the workplace, and then we're going to have
I'm part of the greatest generation, bitches.
Now we're going to go on a generation war.
And then when we have the work conference event where we're trying to understand different generations, and everybody goes to their table, there's going to be like the 18-year-old
I can't work
table.
Because I was part of the lost generation. World War I fucked with me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So we're just going to watch it all burn down, guys. So thanks for being here for me, guys. Thanks for listening.
Casey, for rolling it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this, you messy ass bitch who I work with that started all this shit off, I'm fucking talking to you. Can't wait to have another shift. So you walk in, give me the fucking eye. Bitch, say something, I dare you.
That's right.
Go fuck yourself.
If you want to email intothedreambucket at gmail.com, we will take your dreams or request to take down episodes so we can create more content talking about
And I guess, download them if you want to keep them.
Yeah.
Right. You never know.
You never know.
They're going to get canceled.
Yep. So.
In fact, I think somebody's looking over your shoulder right now, Nick.
Too quick. Bye, guys. Bye. Okay.